I got a great question from somebody wanting advice on how to strengthen their scapula base to really help with their neck tightness. Now, as a fellow long neck person and someone who has given myself multiple serious whiplash injuries from trying to throw too many inverts behind a boat, I can relate to tight neck issues and having to go through lots of rehab to help get my neck feeling great. So I wanted to share with you today 2 of my favorite exercises for helping to build that strong base. And then I want to give you one more great tip. So I would say the top 3 things is what we're going to work through today. So one of my first favorite exercises is working on scapular retraction. So the ability of the scapula to come back across the rib cage or to retract. So we're going to be looking at rhomboids, middle traps, a little bit of upper traps, and lower traps here. So we really do want to keep the neck as relaxed as possible. So I would like as little upper traps as possible, even if we can keep them a little bit squishy for this, and really just feeling those middle traps and those lower traps working. So what you're going to think about doing is you're really going to think about reaching through with your hand so we get a lot of room to move. And then as you lift up with the weight, you're going to think about that scapula sliding across your back. Now, as it slides across your back, you're going to want to make sure you don't pull down with your lat. So if you see someone kind of scrunch here, that means lat kicked in. That's no good. That's going to shut down those muscles that we really want working. And then that big lat's just going to take over. So we're not building that strength in our medial scapula area. Okay, so I really want you to focus on absolutely no scrunching here, no hiking through the neck. You're just thinking about sliding the scapula directly across the back. The other thing I want you to think about here is keeping a nice neutral rib cage. So you want to lift your abs a little bit and you want to keep that little C shape ab engagement to help keep a nice, stable, steady rib cage positioning in which that scapula is moving across that rib cage. So I find this to be kind of a challenging exercise if you haven't been using those middle and lower traps very often. The other thing that can kick in a little bit too much is that posterior delt. So just be sure to really think about hanging your hand down. I found that really helps. As soon as somebody kind of cranks back at their wrist, then it's almost like the work goes more distal and they feel it more in their forearm, their elbow, and their posterior delt. Granted, posterior delts are awesome and we need them, but what we're working on here is more of that base middle strength, not posterior delt strength. So I want you to really think about let the hand hang down, let it relax, and focus on the scapula and pulling and the work coming from here, not the work coming from the back of your shoulder. Then the next exercise I want to throw at you is a serratus exercise. Now this is a fairly advanced serratus exercise. We have several more on the website that are much, much easier than this, but sometimes it's really nice to have somewhere to go. So this is a kind of a modified downward dog. And what you're really thinking about doing is pressing through with your scapula. So you were getting the opposite motion. So the first exercise we were working on retraction, now we're working on protraction. So we're going the opposite way. Okay, so you're gonna let your scapula come, thinking about sinking down, coming together, and then you're gonna push through. So as you push through, I want you to think about the bottom of the scapula really coming through. And then one thing I really like to do for this is pause at the top and really just move my neck side to side. Just really work on letting those upper traps completely relax so that we can really focus on getting the bottom of the scapula pulling through, getting that serratus really working there. I love to do isometric holds for this one, so just holding at the top, breathing, relaxing my neck into that position, really thinking about getting the bottom of the scapula, because when you hold something isometrically, then you can really focus on where the work is coming from, where you're feeling it. And this is also a great ab exercise. And then lastly, I would love to leave you with Pec Minor versus Pec Major. So I find that these 3 things, when we're thinking about that base for the neck, are incredibly important. It's probably my top 3 points to hit. So when we think about Pec Minor versus Pec Major, we are thinking here about big chest muscle versus pulling forward. So that Pec Minor inserts on the coracoid process of our scapula. And when we have something inserting through on that coracoid process, it's going to pull down or tip our scapula up and forward. And so that is going to set off a chain of events through our neck. And so when I see people do chest work and I see them kind of hollow out And then I see these muscles up here in the neck, they're popping out, and I'm seeing that Pec Minor coming in, popping out, and I'm like, ooh, all right, so we need to find the Pec Major. And so I spend a lot of time actually helping people find their Pec Major to really help relieve their neck pain, and I'm amazed at what getting that Pec Major in a little bit more can do. So you can do a quick little trick for me. So you can find a wall, you can place your hand on the wall, and you can press like you're trying to do a chest fly, getting your pecs to fire. And then what I want you to do is you press into the wall, I want you to think about almost sticking out your chest just a little bit and really getting all of the fibers of the Pec Major down through the sternum, down through the rib cage. So just all those big Pec Major fibers, not just up here on the clavicular portion. Okay, so I want you to really feel that. And I want you to be able to feel your chest firing all the way down into here and that whole big Pec Major muscle, because the Pec Major is huge. And so you can do that just isometric hold on the wall, working on recruitment, and you may notice, ooh, my shoulder tips forward. I feel my scapula wing off my back when I try to contract my chest, versus if you're getting Pec Major, everything's gonna feel great. Your shoulders are gonna be able to, your scapula is not going to tip forward. Your shoulders are going to be able to stay open a little bit as you get that great Pec Major engagement. So give that a try to see if you can get Pec Major over Pec Minor, work your serratus a bit, and work those middle and lower traps a bit more, and see if that doesn't give you that nice strong base to which your neck can sit on. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one more thing. What your pelvis does changes your posture at your neck. So our spine sits in the base of our pelvis. And so if you have a very large sway back posture, or you have a big large anterior tilt, so you're tipping forward or you're shifting forward, that is going to put an excessive strain forward on your neck from both of those postures. And so when you do that, your neck is probably going to feel pretty tight, but it doesn't have a whole lot to do with your neck, and it has more to do with what's happening at the dynamics within your hips and your pelvis. And so working on making the change from the bottom up can help relieve neck and back tension. All right, so try all those tips and see if they don't help your neck feel a lot looser and a lot better.